Disclaimer, I'm actually in this commentary mostly commentating over a now deleted version of the video. The video is now actually 25 minutes long instead of 27 minutes long, and a lot of the stuff in this commentary is irrelevant except for the opinions that I have on the specific pieces I commentate over, which wouldn't have changed if I re-commentated over it. So I'm keeping it in and editing over it with text globs explaining that. So let's begin.
Hey peeps, Pinkolol16 here in another video of my own to commentate over. We're up to Super Mario 64, The Cursed Invincibility Frames Part 16. Part 16 has been basically my biggest project, so then I could just finish the series in general since it left off on Part 15 on a cliffhanger. Part 15 was released shortly before the release of Splatoon, which had taken over my life for basically the last couple of months afterwards when I released Part 15. Super Mario 64, The Cursed Invincibility Frames, was founded on a promise, which I've been relating to over the course of the series. A promise that was made between me and Brandon, which is at Royal LNG. At the time I made the promise with him, he had wanted me to make a video for him, which was him, his character, exploring in the Star Road, which I believe he couldn't do because he was busy with making, like, Eternal Night and all of the rest of his, Super Mario 64 shorts and stuff. So, he was busy and wanted me to make something. So, since I was basically the only person able to make stuff and Starman 3 wasn't exactly appealing, so after I made the video, we then made a promise. His promise was supposedly that he would be able to make a fight scene for me whenever he wanted. I didn't realize said promise had an expiry date because I saved that promise for this particular series, the very end of the series when the fight scene was going to occur. But something happened because he didn't even want to do it. He had no interest in fight scenes anymore, or even color codes anymore, so I was completely broken and had to go off and search for other people. Apollo10, who I had also been featuring in the series, then alerted me to the second person, which is the source of all the dislikes because of their reign of terror over the Super Mario 64 community, which I can tell since all of the younger audience seems to have practically vanished off the face of the earth because of their influence across the entire community as practically bullies. This guy, Mario 2.0, which I'd also featured as a fan earlier on in the series, and I'd also been planning to give him a big role later on in the newer series that I was planning to do after the Cursed Invincibility Frames was finished. Considering this got in the way and I had to do the HSC exams and life got in the way along with several other videos, I asked him to do it and he definitely accepted. I told him the story. I had done things with him so then Star Road could eventually be compatible, but then he just lost motivation. Totally. No matter what, I tried waiting for an entire year after I asked, which I asked in August of 2015, and this part literally only released in November of 2016 because of the fact that I needed to stop this colossal wait that was going to happen, that was happening to basically all of their series, listening into their little group conversations, how they were moaning about, oh, I have this series that I really want to do, but I'm not going to do it because I don't have the motivation to do it, and most of their series were ending up like that, and I was worried they were doing the same to mine, and especially after how much I wanted to finish it, I was getting very, very annoyed with it. So I then sent Mario a message. I sent him a message warning him that I was going to put him on a deadline for this darn thing. He had plenty of time to look at it. I gave him a month before said deadline, so and it was the month I was doing my HSC exams. So I was expecting that he would at least be able to see the message at least, so he would be aware that something would be happening on the day of the deadline, which I had already told him, because I wasn't going to give him any more chances after his attitude with me during all of his times, especially during the times when I would ask and receive no feedback for 2 weeks on end until he would come back with, "Oh yeah, I've done maybe 2 seconds of the fight scene. Are you happy now?" He said that he had only apparently got like 60 seconds through a previous screenshot. So 60 seconds in a month didn't seem like much. Until I got to the very end of that month, and by November, I realized, oh yeah, he hadn't done anything. So I had planned for this scenario and made the rest of the fight scene by myself. I've given Mario his part of the fight scene the credit he deserves in the description. But then I made a scene by myself to finish the story, and then the rest of the scenes afterwards that end the story. So this is the way it is now, and I'm not going to take it down. This is how I imagined it. I gave myself plenty of time. I made the fight scene of my portion in about 5 hours. And then you probably sigh at me and go, what the hell? But I needed to get it out. But in my plan of my SM64 timeline, I needed to get the Curse of Invincibility frame. It needed to be done by this point. I'd focused on Splatoon so much and focusing around on there so much, but since that was dying down and nothing was really happening there, it gave me more and since I was done, it gave me more time to focus on what I really needed to do, perk up my YouTube. So I needed to finish part 16. Most of this video, before the fight scene, was recorded in December of 2015, so then I could record all the stuff before the fight scene. There's a bit in the video which I'll get up to that was actually the trailer that I wanted to put as like the surprise part of the series, that this preview trailer was actually going to be in the series at some point, and it actually ended up being the star collecting scene for this video, so you'll see it now. If you weren't watching, this was the order of the characters that had jumped out in part 15, which I had already watched beforehand. So no, it's not random. I watched the end of the video about 15 times before I got the chance to release it. Most of these files were also sitting in my computer taking up space for the longest period of time ever because of the fact that because of the fact of how Sony Vegas and how a lot of video programs tend to work, the source files are still need to still be there in order for the video to actually still be there. And with how many video files this part of the video took up, it was basically half my hard drive. So I didn't want to do that for too long. And after a year, I was really getting sick of having to compromise space for something that really should have been out by now. As you can see, my soundtrack's gone through a major change due to the fact that a whole nearly 2 years has passed. And remember, I had school in between all of that, so, yeah. As if I don't know what the importance of college, guys. Seriously, I was going through my HSC exams. The final high school exams. Yeah, he saw the portal, well, not really the portal, but the fact that we came up here and had been waiting the whole time. It's kind of a goof since he was supposed to be literally below the hill, but I wanted the scene to take place up here instead. Yeah, we needed to clear that up. I didn't want Akin and Jinder taking part in the final fight, not because, oh yeah, my characters aren't important or anything, I just wanted them to not be dealing with a final boss, quote unquote. So, yeah. I'm also later, at the time of this recording, going to release a widescreen variant of this part only, and I say this part only because I don't have any of the files for any of the previous parts anymore. I would have deleted them because of how much space each part individually takes up on my hard drives. So I wouldn't have the files anymore because of the fact that I literally got rid of them all. I only have this one because I can render the widescreen variants, and then you can watch it in total widescreen. I did it this way, the original version, for consistency. I didn't want for some odd reason all the other parts are 4:3, but then this part is suddenly widescreen. I didn't want that to happen. So I will provide both, but I won't provide one or the other. I've seen this bit like 15 times because of how many times I had to re-watch this bit in order to make it seem correct. So everything in these scenes has been proof checked like 15, 18, 20 times over because of the fact that I had these files for so long. The only thing I couldn't proof check was the part of the trailer that I wanted to keep in the exact same way, which is the flickering bits I mentioned earlier in some of the Starman 3 commentaries. If you're unaware, Star Road, if you don't uncheck a few boxes, will make the area, will make the textures turn into massive flicker boxes around the place. Starman 3 had a weird bug where his game would have a random black fold. I'm imagining that's somewhere in the vein of where the texture flickering is. But most people, including Mario 5 tend to have an issue with Star Road where the textures tend to flicker all across the screen, and it's noticeable. You'll notice what I'm talking about in a couple of seconds. But I had to uncheck a box in order for it to not flicker anymore, and it's something to do. I think it's something to do with how the camera moves or something like that. So yeah. Flickering is the only thing that I wanted to keep the same because I wanted to keep the original footage. That's part of it, but I had flickering problems back then because I didn't know what box to uncheck. Of course, by the time I recorded these scenes, I had already unchecked the box. So, yeah, but you'll see it in a moment where I wanted to keep the footage the same for the sake of the fact that I wanted to retain the original surprise the way it was intended to be, but the fact that it's been so long, the effect is completely gone now. He stayed out in the YTR round. Jinder and Akin didn't go for the YTR round or the Star World round. How long have they stayed out of the star collecting game? I didn't make it collecting because then I would have shown the HUD, otherwise I don't show the HUD. I still script weirdly, but when I was recording the scenes, I was just following the scripts that I had written since it's the most accurate thing to the time. I wrote it in the, actually I think the day after I, uploaded the, part 15 video, so I then scripted it and then would later set myself to record it. And I did so in December of 2015, which was only a few months, or several months actually, after I released part 15. It was during the time when I hoped that Mario would get the fight scene done, but then it just dragged on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and it got extremely annoying. Even through their summer, which I was hoping, oh yeah, maybe you would be on more often, so then maybe you'd be able to do it. But then even more time passed with him doing literally nothing, and I would contact him over and over. What are you doing? Do you have any news? What's going on? Nothing happened. I didn't want to nag too often, but it was getting very annoying, especially with the way he was acting each time he gave news to me at all. Some of my other friends in the Splatoon community kind of know of portions of the story in a vague sense, the way I would script some of the stories here of my annoyance as well. That's how bad it was getting. Also, this is sped up gameplay footage because lol, I need to get the characters out of the scene. Dimensional warping powers. And you'll notice with Starman 3 that he literally just floats in the air. That's a goof. It's only because of the way that the Star Road hill is a slope, and the animation goes completely straight. On flat ground, you'd never notice a difference, but here it's jarring, and I wanted him to stare in that direction using that animation. There's only so much you can do when the ground isn't flat. So he's just floating. This would have been an idea where filming it where the portal originally was would have been a better idea, but I really wanted the scene to take place up here because it's the starting place and they need to come back to Star Road. I'd written myself into a corner because, oh yeah, didn't the YTR go back home? So I thought Enzo could come back, and it's out of a desire to help. So it's a cop out, but I didn't know how to structure it beforehand. When every character was meant to be equal and all that. Enzo was originally in the trailer thing, so I was like, how the hell is he going to just randomly appear there? Oh right, I need to write him in. Whoops. I'm being an idiot here. It's just relation to his character. And again, it's another one of the instances where it's a fancy coincidence. The YTR warners are still there. I don't know that, but I'm saying they might be, and I'm right, but I don't know it. One of those fancy coincidences. I also forgot to mention this is the longest part in the whole series. We didn't really need to learn, since beforehand we went through the entire discussion anyway about the dimensional similarity theory, and Enzuo was one of the people who sent me to the Star Road anyway, so that's kind of stupid. And then they all look at me like an idiot because why the hell would I even say that? Well, yeah, because he's a YTR random at the time, but now basically one of my good friends. The only out of this entire series. footage from the old trailer. This is the original trailer that I released. It's actually the second version. I released the first one, but that first one is not actually going to happen anymore. The second one, this one was released in its own video as a teaser for the series. Worst teaser ever. But I wanted somewhere in the series for the teaser to actually be a part of the video. The effect is lost though, since it's been so long since I released the preview and the whole series. But this was meant to be a kind of linking thing. It's once again another musically synced scene. Synced to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity Bitter Cold Phase 2. I haven't even played the game. I like the song. I don't want to play the game. That flickering there of the texture, if you go really slow, you'll be able to see it much better. That flickering is what I'm talking about when I said a lot of people tended to have this problem, including myself. Back then, I didn't know how to uncheck it, and I wanted to keep the original footage the way it was, so then, you know, the teaser would actually be a part of the series. So that meant sacrificing the quality of the fact that the flickering's there. It's only here for like the first couple scenes though. What I'm using is a code where the camera follows along slowly, and it works very well for a lot of scenes. Although the transitions aren't helping me very well. Now the rest of it is just going to be us collecting stars. It's not really collecting, as you'll find out in the next couple minutes. Maybe now that I don't have to restrict myself to this scene, I can now get a better version of the song. See, it's normally clouds, so making it lava in like actual lava in the fourth dimensional place made it look even more stupid. Making references to the earlier parts when they said, oh yeah, he visits the fourth dimension often, and his own videos. I'm making a lot of snarky points towards Starmer 3 here. This was normally in the original script, and in the original idea as well. So, like, the ideas document was how I would make the scripts. So, yeah, this was kind of a point, although you can say, oh yeah, this is a kind of a point as to the fact I'm not in the group anymore. You'll find out that Vendimka specifically prepared himself for all of us here. Well, not really us specifically, like the amount of people that are here right now. It's a star arena. It's perfectly symmetrical too. It makes filming shots here very difficult. He actually is that silly, past me. So they stand on the 5 points, but the whole point of them standing, it's not like we're standing on buttons. We've just realized his puzzle. He's forcing himself to appear now along with Colin. Because that's part of his plan, and he'll tell that to us in a second. Make this a record for most amount of characters I've masked in a scene. That scene alone probably took up all of the video layers that I had of the video. So as you can see, it's like, oh, why I'm now voicing the audience. Why are you so calm when we've literally been going through every world for the purpose of stopping you in the first place? And the reason why he's staring that way is because Blue is on. If you were looking from our behind, Blue is on the far right of our group, so he's staring at Vindimka's side. He's technically staring at Colin. You'll notice that Colin doesn't talk a lot here, and in story he's supposed to be talking as if he's not actually meaning what he's saying. So I can't really show the latter bit out visually, but throughout most of the scene he's silent. There's a reason for that. And it wasn't just because, oh yeah, I can't find any lines for him. It's actually for a bigger reason, which is the whole reason Vindimka's doing this. That's why he wanted them to stand near them. He wanted them to understand that this is going to affect all of the dimensions. And there are 5 dimensions in the cycle. 5 bombs, each represents a place. So the bombs are programmed to launch the energy into that specific dimension that he's assigned it to. How? You'll find out in a second. And it's not like one of those villain things where they're saying that the plan's in motion and it's not actually happening. He means it. What the energy is actually getting itself up now that he's got. And how has he gotten that energy? Oops. The energy that he needs for the plan is actually building up right now as he's saying it. So he has perfect time to explain it because it's already happening right now. It's not like one of those things where they say, oh, it's happening, but it's just a taunt. See, he's talking to Blue that way, and that's where Blue is. It's very difficult to film in this place since it's a perfectly symmetrical star. So I put the characters in like this giant kind of circle to help show their location.